I loved music. Did I think I'd have a career in it? No. I mean, I was a cowgirl. And that's where I started being in front of crowds and realizing, hey, I really like the energy I get from this.
Ooh, we got that swagger.
I thought the sky was the limit, honestly. And then one day I remember getting a phone call and my record label literally shut down overnight in Nashville. And for me, it was like, I don't quit very easy. So I knew, okay, I don't have an income. I need to create something for that.
Curious, Shea, to take a hard pivot away from everything we've been talking about.
That's great.
Who's on your Mount Rushmore of country music?
You know, somebody asked me this question the other day, and I was like, this is the weirdest question, but it was great.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the episode of the Travis Makes Friends podcast, where it's our mission to help you build better friendships. Today on the show, we're talking to a true powerhouse entrepreneur, singer, songwriter, wife, and mom of three, Shea Fisher. Shea has built multiple successful brands, including Shea Baby, now in over 1,000 stores, Shea Michelle Buckles, and Fit with Shea. And after years of focusing on business and family, she's back to her musical roots with her latest single, Take Me Back to Texas, co-written with Grammy winner Jessie Jo Dillon. Shea's story is one of resilience, reinvention, and chasing big dreams while staying grounded in what matters most. Shea, what is up? Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me.
What's up? Thanks for the intro. Wow. Yeah. I feel very important.
Did I pick up the energy a little bit for you?
You did. You did. Before we went live, I was like, hey, let's do some jumping jacks. Come on.
Yeah, that's often the remark that I get from folks. Is
well, I'm glad to be here.
I was not expecting that because you were super mellow and chill when we first started talking.
Yeah. So. Well, I'm glad that Travis makes friends because we can be friends.
We can now be friends.
We are now officially friends.
Well, depending on how the conversation goes, of course. Yeah, but I think we're off to a good start.
We are. You know? We're good. Yeah. We got this.
Okay, so...
Hey guys, Travis here, and I'm interrupting my own conversation to talk to you a little bit about the obvious, which is that you can clearly see this channel is starting from scratch. So based on a few external factors and some things internally with our team, we decided to basically move all of our long form content over to one YouTube channel. So our remaining channels that we've had existing for a long time, we're putting all of our shorts content over there, but this channel is going to be reserved for all of our long form stuff. So if you've enjoyed this conversation so far and you like this type of content, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. We could use all the love we could get, all the likes, the comments, the subscriptions over here on this channel, and I will personally get back to each and every one of you that comments on any of the videos on this channel. Shoot me a message, shoot me an email, travis@travischappell.com. I will get back to you personally. You can shoot me a DM on Instagram if that's easier, @travischappell. Either way, we're just trying to build this community and build a channel that is helpful for all of you. Whether that's for the education standpoint, some of the health and fitness experts that we bring on, or some of the comedy people that we have a good time with. We just want to make this the most valuable channel that we possibly can for you. So hit that subscribe button, like, comment on this video, and we'll chat real soon.
You have done a multitude of things in your career, a little bit all over the map, and
a lot over the map.
A lot all over the map, literally coming from Australia and now being in Texas, and then spending time in Nashville and doing a bunch of stuff out in Vegas right now. So first of all, what did you expect you were going to be doing when you were growing up? And what does it look anything like what you were expecting?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm originally from Australia. The accent's very confused. But I grew up in a rodeo family. So my dad is an Australian champion bull rider. Mum's an Australian champion bow racer. So rodeo was life and a cowgirl culture for for as long as I can remember.
Is there certain parts of Australia where that's kind of the
rodeo?
Culture?
Yeah. I mean, but where I grew up on the coast, which was weird because we literally lived 10 minutes from the main beach in Australia, yet I was a cowgirl. So at school, that was kind of a struggle because rodeo wasn't cool.
Gotcha.
So I would, have this beach cowgirl persona, and it wasn't the cool thing, honestly. Yeah. I knew growing up that I always loved being in front of the camera or singing in a hairbrush, all the things little girls do. When my family moved to the U.S., I was 9 years old. They first moved over for a couple of years. My dad rode bulls on the PBR circuit here, the bull riding circuit.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But that's when it was 90s country. So I just loved driving down the road listening to the radio, and I loved music. Did I think I'd have a career in it? No. I mean, I was a cowgirl. I dreamt of it. I actually wanted to be a supermodel, a runway model, and I had a mark on my bed, and I just didn't get tall enough. Like, you had to be 5'9", I got 5'6", and I was like, okay, next career. Modeling is just not going to be a catwalk model.
That's how I was at basketball. So
yeah, I was like,
didn't
dang
work
it.
out for either of us.
Too bad my parents were like 5'7". Like, I don't even know why I even thought that was a possibility, but they So when we moved back from the U.S. when I was younger, I liked music. I started doing talent quests, but I didn't win. I mean, literally, I would go there, and I wasn't bad. It was just such a, I wouldn't say cliquey, but like I sounded too American. They said I wasn't singing the right song. So I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this. I don't need to fit this mold. So I started singing the national anthem at rodeos, and that's where I started being in front of crowds and realizing, hey, I really like the energy I get from this.
I see. Okay.
I was 14, and I was at an event, and there was a big tour bus there. And I was pretty outgoing even at 14. I seen this tour bus. I knew there was someone famous on it. So I went and knocked on the tour bus door. The guy came out, and I was like, hey, do you have a support act? And he was like, no, my support act's actually sick. Like, who are you? And I told him who I was. And he asked me if I had a band. And I said, nope, I have karaoke tracks. And so he said, okay, you can go on stage. But he put me on like 2 hours before him. There was 3 people in the crowd, and 2 were my parents. But I performed like there was 10,000 people.
Yes, you did.
Because I knew that he was going to be watching whether he was there or not. Yeah. And he ended up liking what I did. And then he was like, hey, he came from my parents and was like, hey, does she want to do the next 4 events with me? Because we were on the rodeos with the same festivals.
At 14?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
I knew nothing. Fake it till you make it. I clearly did that. I mean, I didn't grow up in music.
Yeah.
So I was doing these shows, and then he was like, hey, I think we need to start writing songs together. I like what you do. And this guy ended up turning into my manager. We wrote my first album together.
No way.
Steve and my parents paid for my first album. We went to Nashville, came back. At 15, they pitched it to a record label. And then I'm like, I was 16 years old, and I signed a major record deal in Australia. I had no clue what I was doing.
Wow.
By
literally knocking on a dude's door.
Literally. Yeah. And it's so true. Like, literally taking that risk. It's crazy. I think back now, I'm like, life would look so different if that didn't happen. 17, I was finishing high school, and I was touring, like doing my own shows, headlining my own tours, and it was a whirlwind. I mean, I just didn't know the industry, but I think it was probably a good thing because I didn't have any expectations. I just kind of rolled with it. And my parents had always taught me that, like, no dream was crazy. So I wasn't like shocked that I signed a record deal at 16, even though I knew nothing about it. I was like, oh yeah, sure, I can do this. I mean, why not? Why not me?
Yeah.
So life was crazy for that, from 16 to 20. It was a whirlwind.
Well, there's also one really important thing that you mentioned there, which is that I performed like there was 10,000 people, even though there was only 3 people, which in any sort of, especially creative endeavor or artistic endeavor, you have to treat the audience of 1 as though it's an audience of 10,000 because that's what eventually gets people to start telling people about your stuff.
Oh, 100%.
If you're never going to prepare to the degree that you need to prepare for that 10,000 as though even if it's only a few people, then you're never going to get to the level that you want to get to. And even back when I started my show like 7-8 years ago, I had a wallpaper on my phone, and it was a 1, a greater than sign, and a 0. Meaning it's like if I can get 1 person just to listen to this show, that's better than 0 people.
Yeah.
And it means that I'm onto something. And I owe that 1 person as much work and effort to put into making this a great experience for them as though there were 15, 20, 25,000 downloads an episode on this thing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I mean, for me too, it was always like, you never know who that 1 person is that's listening or in the crowd.
Correct. Right.
Like, I knew in the music industry, I knew it was about being in front of the right people. But that didn't mean 10,000 people. That could mean the right person could be that 1. And for me, it was that 1 guy.
Yeah.
So I've always had that in life. Even with business and stuff, I don't mind starting things small and growing because, like you said, 1 sale leads into 10 sales, leads into 100 sales. Like it just has that ripple effect.
Yeah, if you put the effort into it, right? Like if you,
for sure.
if you put in the effort to make that 1 customer extremely happy, they have a tendency to tell other people that they're extremely happy.
Yeah, I mean, and you can build. I've had businesses, and in a 5-year period, we've gone from making $30,000 a year to a 7-figure business. Like you can build businesses quick that's quick in my mind. Some people mightn't think that's quick because it's like, man, that was 5 years to do that. Yeah, but like 30 turns into 60, turns into 120, turns into 240. Like it should, if you're doing stuff right, it should have that ripple effect and continue to grow. If you're not growing, whether it's in a career or in business, you need to recheck like, oh, what am I not doing right?
So what point did you pivot a little bit more into the business space from touring and being a musician full time?
So I signed a record deal right before I turned 21 in Nashville. So I had all the, the success in Australia. I had number one songs, was doing great. I thought the sky was the limit, honestly. Moved to the US. Record label told me I was the next big thing. I did radio tour. My son was doing great at radio.
Real quick, why move to the US if it was going well in Australia?
Because I had done what I wanted to do in Australia. I had 6 number one songs. I had toured. I wanted more.
Okay.
I know that sounds weird, but like every country music act wants to come to the US and try it. Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to try it. I've had a good career in Australia. I'm going to just bring it over here. And I could work both countries. Like I'd fly home for 30 hours to Australia to do a show or shoot a music video. It was crazy. But, I used to sleep on the planes.
That is a brutal flight.
It is. So to answer your question, I was signed to the record label. And then one day I remember getting a phone call and my record label literally shut down overnight in Nashville. So I had moved my whole world, my band members, my manager, everybody to the U.S., and I was stuck here, strange country, had to ship all those guys home because I no longer could pay them to be here, and I had to figure out what life looked like. And for me, it was like, I don't quit very easy. And that going home would have felt like quitting to me because I didn't feel like I came to the U.S. and signed the record deal to just give up on, at the time, I thought it was music. So I knew, okay, I don't have an income. I need to create something for that. So I brainstormed and I was like, well, my parents had a belt buckle company. So I called my dad and I said, hey, I don't know what to do, but how do I do this? And he's like, well, you can use our factory, but you're going to have to do everything else. So I'd go to Panera Bread and I started cold calling. I'd like Google like these names of events and I'd cold call them and say, hey, I have a belt buckle company. I have new designs. I would love your business. Obviously, every 100 calls I made, one said yes to even see my product. And then out of every 10 that wanted to see the product, maybe one bought it. But I made the $30,000 I needed to live that first year during the belt buckle company. Wow. So I was like, okay, if I can keep... And
you were in Nashville at the time?
Yep. If I can keep these 10 customers happy, maybe next year that's 20. Maybe that's the next year it's 30. So that's how I first got involved in business, and I did all of it. I mean, I designed, I sourced out the factories, I shipped. I mean, I wasn't at the point I could hire a bunch of people to help me. But also at that point, I was going back and forth to Texas because it felt more like home to me. Nashville, it was big city lights, and I was a country girl. I met my husband when I was in Texas at a rodeo. He's a world champion rodeo athlete. At the time, he hadn't won the world at the time, but he was still successful in the industry. So when we got together, having his name with the belt buckles brought me some credibility, and we were able to grow that business. Every year we would double. We just kept doubling, which was a blessing. But I knew I liked doing that, but it wasn't my passion. I knew I had to do it to get by. And then we had children. I had completely stepped away from the music industry. I was honestly very bitter with the industry because I felt like my opportunity was taken. And I was watching my friends have number one songs. I mean, I didn't pick up the guitar for 3 years.
Really?
I didn't sing. I just couldn't. I just had to separate myself. It was a very trying time in my life because my identity was in how many number one songs I had.
Yeah, of course.
Anybody I talked to,
it was like all you knew.
Oh, how's
up to
music?
that point.
How's this? So I'd have to be like, oh, it's good. I would never lie, but I would never tell them, well, actually, my record label was shut down. I'm just winging it now.
Right.
So we had our children, and then I had seen that there was a big gap in the Western industry for kids' clothing. And I was like, why is no one doing this? I approached all these brands. I'm like, hey, I'd love to like design kids' clothing for your company, like Wrangler and all these. They all shut me down. They're like, no. I was like, well, I'm going to do it myself then. So that's what I did.
That does seem really strange. Any ideas why?
They just didn't think it was going to work. They just didn't think it was a big enough market, but I knew it was. So I started with boots. The first 3 or 4 years, we barely sold any. My husband's like, you maybe should try something else because you're spending way too much time. And by the 4th year, I decided, I'm going to do clothing. And then our first customer was Buc-ee's. Our second customer was Cavendish. And now we're in 2,500 stores.
Wow.
Throughout the U.S. So I designed the clothes and I'm pretty hands-on in that company, but it made sense because I had kids. I'm like, I don't want to dress my kids in Disney and Dinosaur. Like, I want, like, I would do something like I'm wearing right now in a kid's version. So I really wanted to do.
It makes complete sense to me. That's wild that none of those companies were doing that.
And honestly, it's still mind-blowing to me. But I do think it was honestly probably just like God shutting the doors. Like, no, I'm going to instead of you making 5% from these companies, you can make it all.
Yeah, of course.
But, of course. I mean, there was a lot of hard work.
Not even just going through you. I'm just surprised they didn't have those SKUs available, like, already. That's so
There was a couple companies that did a few, but not to the extent.
People spend a lot of money on their kids' clothes.
So much. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that kept me busy for a long time. So my identity switched to like business owner, entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But I just knew. I was like, I didn't like finishing in the music industry like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got to get back into it. But I just didn't have the right time. It wasn't the right time, and supporting my husband and the businesses. I had to kind of wait till that time.
So we'll get into that in a second, but I want to go back. Was Buc-ee's the first one to say yes to that?
No, actually Buc-ee's was the first one. Okay. Yes, absolutely. The truck
that's
stop.
a great one to win.
Yeah.
Buc-ee's is like world famous almost now at this point.
It's pretty great. They've been such a great customer of ours. I have great relationships with them, but it's funny because you get in one like Buc-ee's and then people follow. Mm-hmm. Then Cabinets, and then Murdoch's goes in and sees a product in Cabinets, and then somebody like all these big major chains go into these other chains to see what brands they're selling.
Sure.
And that's how they find me. So we're at a great point in business where we've grown so quick the last year that I'm like, I've outgrown my space. I need a new warehouse. But I mean, that's a great problem to have, obviously.
Of all the problems to have.
I know. I'm like, so I'm doing music business. My husband's on the road full-time rodeoing.
Full-time? Wow.
Yeah. So Tyson he's made the finals 14 times, the national finals, which is like Super Bowl of rodeo. It's very much like a country music career. You're gone all summer long, 3 months of the year. It's just nonstop, really. It's a crazy lifestyle, but I grew up in it, so I'm supportive and I understand what it's like.
Mm-hmm. And what it takes to be at the top of the game.
But we do a lot of distance. We were able to go out this summer because I was singing as well, and we were all on the tour bus together and we just juggle rodeos and singing. Yeah. But so he's full time. He had retired, was completely done. He kind of had what I had, where I just had to step away.
Yeah.
He stepped away from everything cowboy. He sold his horses. He didn't ride a horse for like a year and a half. And then I had said in an interview, I said, he's going to unretire when he has to stay home with these kids. And we have fabulous kids, but you get it. Like,
of course, yeah.
And then literally 2 weeks later, he's like, this is after taking a 2-year break. He's like, I'm coming out of retirement.
Yeah,
I was like,
2 weeks.
Of course you are. So we're like, okay, we talked about, we're like, well, how are we going to juggle all this? I'm like, well, we support each other and we just make it work. So, yeah, he's full time. So he's out on the road now and 42 years old, and the other competitors are in their 20s. And, with age comes wisdom and knowledge, I guess, is what I tell him.
Yeah, no kidding. He's got some experience under the belt, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the children's clothing line, how long did it take you to get back into music, and what was kind of your first foray to decide that I'm going to go ahead and start writing some songs or performing again? What was the first thing?
So I had a bunch of songs I wrote in Nashville, like when I was there, that never got released. I was like, I just love these songs, but it wasn't the right time. And I think deep down, I was a little bit nervous to do music again without a record label because I had been signed for 15 years. I didn't know anything different than record labels. Now, with the record label comes like good and bad, like they tell you what to say, what to wear, all that stuff. But it was a risk to me, not just like doing it on my own, but I was thinking, okay, I've had this success. What happens if I come out of per se retirement or whatever you want to call it, come back into the industry and nobody likes what I do anymore.
Yeah.
Or nobody follows, what I do and supports it. But the reason I decided was our 8-year-old daughter had said to me, Mom, I haven't seen you sing, I haven't seen you perform. And I was like, well, you were just too young. And then she's like, well, why aren't you doing it? And I honestly didn't have an answer. I was like, well, I don't know. Because I'm at a point that I can do that with business and the kids are old enough I can do it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, do you want me to sing again? She's like, yeah. I was like, okay, that means we're going to have to go and be doing stuff. So I just decided, I'm going to do it again, get back into it independently. I had put it out there on a little bit, started to get my music more out there on social media again, let people know that some people didn't even know I was a singer if they were a new follower.
Yeah,
because I had stepped away for so long. And the point, the pivotal point where I realized, okay, this is what I need to do was when, and I don't like talking about social media followers, but my social media for a lot of years had like 30,000 followers. When I started showing more music and that I was willing to like still be a mom and a wife and be good at those things but chase my dreams, my followers just kept growing and growing and growing. And these women just kept messaging me like, oh my gosh, this is so inspirational. I thought having kids, I couldn't chase my dreams. I didn't know if I could get back into it.
Yeah.
So seeing that was like, I need to do this. It's now or never. So I'm very I'm either all in or not. So I flew in an Australian music director. We shot 3 videos in 2 weeks. I was like, I'm at least 3 songs into this. But it's been, honestly, the response has been great. Not only am I showing my kids, like our kids, that it's good to still chase your goals and dreams. Like you can do 2 things. I don't feel like our kids miss out on a lot by Tyson and I being goal driven because they do a lot with us. They come with us. We don't leave them more than 1, maybe 2 nights, if ever. So they're very involved in it. But I do think it shows that I'm, I think it's a good role model, and I do really feel like it helps women. especially mums, you know, because it's hard. When you become a mum, lordy, you lose your identity. Sure. Like, it's really hard to stay in who you are because you put everything into your husband and your kids and everything else. You don't have any energy left for yourself.
Yeah, it requires, I mean, it's a full-time job by
and it's
itself.
a great job. But I feel like once the kids get to a certain age, our youngest is 4, that's when, you know, you have to find yourself again for your own sake and for your husband and your family. Like, even my husband's like, dang, like, you got more pep in your step now in your 30s and your 20s. And a lot of people say that. They're like, what are you doing? Like, I'm like, well, I'm just enjoying, like, I'm loving myself again.
Yeah.
And I'm, you know, doing some things I enjoy as well.
Yeah.
So
you have to.
Yeah.
You got to be able to fill up your own cup.
Yeah.
You know, or else
to
you're
then
not
be able to be good at
Exactly.
Yeah.
You gotta. Yeah. You can't fill up other people's cups if yours is empty.
Yeah.
You know.
And I keep a good. People say, "How do you do it?" Well, a lot of coffee. Cheers. But I have a good support system. I never wanted to ask for help, and I was never okay with feeling like somebody else was helping me do this because if I couldn't do it by myself, I didn't want to do it at all. I was a bit prideful with that, honestly. But I do have help. I keep a small group of friends, but I have help. I have, you know, a lady that comes to the house, and I work from my home office, but she'll help with the kids if they're home because I don't want to just put them in front of an iPad. And I have great women in our businesses. So I do have a support system and friends I can call on.
You have to.
And that's really important to know that, you know, this is about friends too, but for me, it's not about how many friends I have. It's the quality of friends.
Yeah.
Those people I know I can call on, but I really pride myself in being a good friend. I like to, and my husband and I talk about it all the time. Tyson's not great at it. He's not that he's not a good friend. He just is terrible at checking up on people.
Totally.
Like,
I think it's a dude thing.
A dude thing. And he's like,
yeah.
He's like, have you talked to such and such? I'm like, oh, yeah, I send him a message about once a month and ask how they're doing. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, that's what good friends do. You know?
Exactly. I definitely went through a phase for a while where I was just like, I was so focused on like professional goals and things like that that I not purposefully, just on accident, just kind of neglected checking in with buddies, you know, like friends that are like lifelong friends that are more like family almost than they are friends.
You almost don't have to because you know they're not going anywhere, but it's like, but you really should.
Exactly.
So it's,
you don't want to be in a position where, you know, I could see myself easily getting into that trap where, you know, I'm in my early 30s right now, but then I could see where if I didn't make some sort of intentional change, that I would be that dude who's like 48 and then looking at my last, you know, the kids are grown, you know, close to out of the house, and it's like I haven't hung out with my friends in like a decade. You know, I just did not want to be that guy. So like now I put time in my calendar, like at least once a year, but try to do once every 6 months or so, where like I go to California with friends that I was raised with, and we just hang out for a couple of days of nonsense, golf, whatever.
But it's good to have those people that have known you and that you can trust, like, and you know that they're your friends. Not for any other reason, but because they're your friends.
You don't have to watch what you say in front of them or watch what you do in front of them. It's just you get to just be yourself. And it's extremely healthy to have those types of relationships. And luckily, I have a wife who supports me in doing that and isn't like resentful when I go on a boys trip or something like that. It's also the other way around. Like I don't resent her when she goes on a girls trip, you know, but you have to have that. You can't not just be so sucked into family life with your spouse and your kids where you neglect all these other things because...
I struggled for a while with that, taking the time to like, I would be like, okay, if I have a night, I would rather, because I don't have a whole lot of open nights, I'd rather give that time to my husband.
Right.
So I really struggle with like giving time to my girlfriends. But now my husband rodeo is full time. I was like, well, I could get a babysitter because I have lots of like free nights. But more than that, Tyson's like, yeah, you need to go, you know, every other month and just go to dinner with your girlfriends or something. Like make that intentional effort because, you know, it's as you get older, you just get so busy and you just lose contact with people.
And it's not a good case scenario to have your kids grown out of the house and then you're just like, who do I talk to?
Yeah, no, and I mean, like I said, I keep a small circle, but I really, the girlfriends I have, I know I could call on them. And I know they're the ones I don't have to talk to all the time. They're the real ones.
What do you make of the societal pressures on women specifically for, you know, there's like the two camps, right? There's this camp over here that says that, that there's an entire movement of women that are like, don't have kids, don't get locked in with a man, don't need a man, you're your own person, whatever.
Woman empowering kind of
and
to
then
the
you
extreme.
have the opposite side of that, which is like, if you have kids, you should not have a career, and you're neglecting your kids by doing anything other than that. You should just be a mom. And I feel like both of those polarizing ends just shout the loudest and are the most annoying.
Yep.
But when you really like get into the middle area, there seems to be a lot of women who are just struggling because whatever world they're from, whether they're from this world or from this world, they're getting shouted at by people when they're just I know that the pressure is different for women and for moms specifically.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of peer pressure, and honestly, that's for a little while. I think that's what maybe stopped me from getting into the music industry, because the mom guilt was real. I was like, there's no way I can do this. Like, I'm not going to leave my kids at home for a day with their grandparents and go to Vegas and do a bunch of stuff for myself. Like, that just seemed so selfish. But it only felt that way because that's what you see in the media. But then you think that, and then the next minute you got this other thing over here, like, if you're not doing this for yourself, then you're being a bad mother too. So it's like, it's just this toss between, like, you're literally getting pulled both ways. So I had to just zone into me and not care what either one thought. I was going to have people judge. I'm telling you, the amount of, like, I just try not to read social media because the amount of, like, people's opinions from both sides that I get is just crazy. People must have boring lives because they just hide behind a computer and like to comment on.
That's what it is.
But I really had to zone into, like, me, what makes me happy. Am I a good mom still doing this? Are my kids missing out? Basically like a checklist, and weigh it up and like because everybody's different. Some women really, they want to just be present 100%, and that's their goal, and that's great because good for them. But then there's also people who are so business driven that they don't want to have a family, and obviously I don't judge that. I'm like, sure, in today's society, you're fine. You can have kids a lot later. But for me, I just tried to zone them both out because I was getting so much pull between both of them. I would just get so confused. And I didn't want to be a bad mom. I didn't want to be a bad wife. But then I didn't want to sit back when I'm 60 and be like, I should have just tried one more time. Why wasn't I doing this? What held me back? My husband and I literally say, like, our kids are not getting social media till they're 16. Like,
that's a great move.
And when they ask us about it, because they know we're very present on it, when they ask, we're real. I'm like, honey, I had social media when I was younger. It was good old MySpace. Don't think of my age. And I know what messages I got, and I know the peer pressure. And now it's 10 times worse.
So much worse, yeah.
10 times worse. I'm like, you don't need it. Like, our kids have an eventful enough life, traveling and doing other things. I think if we can keep them busy in other areas, they shouldn't have the time to sit down and be looking at their comments on social media. Now, I know the time's going to come that they're going to probably be upset with us about it because they'll be teenagers, but I know they'll thank us in the long run. And it's the same thing with, like, cell phones, but and I'm not judging because I'm not judging at all. Me personally as a mum, I don't want our kids having cell phones till they're about to drive. They don't need it. I know whether they're at school, they're at home, or they're with people I trust. So,
or give them a flip phone.
Yeah, exactly. Or one of the watches where they can call a few people.
Sure.
But I'm telling you, like, and it's not that I don't trust them. I don't trust all the other people out there, because even 15 years ago when I was like that age, no, I just gave myself a few less years. I know the messages I would get and the people people would send on the cell phone, and I just. It takes one time seeing stuff, and you've seen it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's not necessarily don't trust them; it's that you don't trust other people.
No, it's a crazy world we live in, and I just don't like the peer pressure because, especially with our children, we haven't taken them off like our social platforms, so people know their faces, and they're already going to face that. So I don't want to give them, extra ways for people to comment and give their opinions.
Yeah, well, it's just like. It's like alcohol. Is having a beer bad? No, but should you have one when you're 14? Probably not.
No.
You know what I mean? Like your brain is still developing.
Should you have excess of it? Probably not. And that's what happens on phones these days, as they lose contact with their friends. I think it literally stops, because even me, I'm on my phone a lot, but I do work. But unless I'm intentional, it takes time away from my family, my husband, and my friends, because this thing has me captivated.
Right. Well, we reached a point where it's like a sin to be bored. But boredom, especially for developing kids, is really, really important.
Yeah.
The ability to sit in boredom and then have to figure out something and use your critical thinking or problem solving skills to figure something else to do, or use your imagination to create a world in your mind. Like those things
like
are,
we did as kids.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
we had to.
It's a necessary muscle to develop.
Yeah.
You know, like, and if you constantly have distraction and you are training your brain to become like an ADD brain.
Yeah.
You're training, like, the superpower for younger generations is going to be focus, because there has never been more opportunity to create an amazing life for yourself than there is right now. But there's also never been more distraction than there is right
100%.
now. And
Yeah.
the people who win are the people who can focus.
Yeah,
who
the people that
stay
can
on one
channel
track.
that.
Right.
It's they're hitting home run.
So if your kid is, scrolling TikTok from 12 to 18, they never develop the muscle of figuring out what to do when they're bored.
Yeah.
And they always are just going to seek that distraction, and you see it all the time. And I'm guilty of this myself.
Yeah.
Is like when you're, waiting in line at Starbucks, it's like,
I'm
what-
guilty. I mean, I literally have to be so intentional.
to talk to the person in front of you, talk to the person behind you, instead of just immediately, just like a
If my battery
a
dies
drug
on my
addict.
phone and I'm driving, it's so, I notice it so much because I'll reach over to just make sure I didn't get a message. I'm like, well, it's dead. I'm like, how many times I just picked that up to make sure I didn't have a message?
Yep.
In this 30 minutes home, like that's literally how much I'm checking my phone. Like when it's dead and I have no choice but not to have it, I'm almost like, okay, like I need to find a charger. This is not okay. I don't have a phone and I'm going to contact the world. It's just
Right?
crazy.
We're all dopamine addicts.
Oh,
You know what I mean? And it's just like a drug addict. You're just like reaching for that next hit, and sometimes when you don't have the ability to hit, you're like, I guess I'm okay.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
It's
you
a
start like
challenge, though.
shaking, I got to get that next hit.
Yeah, I
but
get it.
especially for a developing, brain, like it's just, it's objectively not a great idea
No.
to let them just get sucked into that world
Yeah.
immediately
Yeah.
without any plan to escape it,
Yeah. And if our kids are anything like us, they have big personalities. So they're either all in or not, and they would just be addicted. So I'm like, yeah, we're not going to go down that road.
Yeah, there's other ways to use your time more wisely and effectively. I'm curious, Shea, to take a hard pivot away from everything we've been talking about.
That's okay.
Who's on your Mount Rushmore of country music?
Somebody asked me this question the other day, and I was like, this is the weirdest question, but it was great. Probably Shania.
Okay.
Back in her days, because she was just, I literally studied everything about her. Every single thing. I watched every performance she did. She was amazing. Live performing really had me intrigued when I was younger, so her for sure. There's so many greats. It's just a hard question. I want to say Shania and Garth because they're the reason I'm in country music. But then I also feel like I had a very similar story to like someone like Reba McEntire. Had a very like both country girls, both found. So my people are more than 90s. Now, if I was to do new country, I love that like Lainey Wilson didn't stray from what she's doing. I still remember when she first came on the scene and she like tried out for Idol 4 or 5 times, didn't get through. Like I love that she didn't change who she was to fit the mold of everybody else. So that's really great. She's definitely. I really, really do like people that are very like they stick to their guns. Like I like how Jason Aldean's. He's where he stands. It is what it is. I like that about him as like a person more so. But yeah, that's a really, really tough one. One day I'd like to see myself on there.
Yeah, of course. And what about like cross? I've noticed there's been a lot of like cross-genre activity going on, especially as it relates to country music with even hip-hop artists or pop artists or even, Taylor Swift started country and then it became more of a pop singer.
Yeah.
Or Post Malone was, more of pop, quasi-hip-hop, I guess, and then did this massive country album release. What do you make of all of that stuff? Why are people being more and more drawn into the country scene?
So as a country singer, even when I was younger, we always crossed over genres to mainstream.
Okay.
A, those may be made there. B, you just had to remix a song and it could cross over. When it goes the other way, it's a little bit more hard for me to accept it. Like, to receive it, it's like, Beyonce's not a country singer. Should not win country Grammy Award. I'm sorry. Like, I'm pretty opinionated about that. I don't mind someone doing a country song. I think it's really cool.
Sure.
But claiming that you're a country artist and being nominated for country awards is kind of like a little bit like a kick in the guts to people because it's like, stay in your lane, we stay in ours. But I do like artists when they're creative and they want to try both genres. I mean, even Jelly Roll's crossing over. I love the good stories of like when people really have had to come work their way up and going through hardship. And it's really those are the stories that intrigue me. Seeing success, because I know what it's like in Nashville. I know you get shut down a lot. So seeing these people that they always said Nashville was a 10-year town, and it really is. And honestly, like people either love or they don't like Taylor. I knew Taylor before she was just signed a record label in Nashville. I've ate with Taylor. I've spent time with her. She deserves every bit of success she's had. She's one of the hardest working people in the industry. I don't care if she crossed over. I mean, if you're that talented and you can go from one genre to another, so be it. I mean, I think it's super talent. I think she's a huge talent. I think she deserves all the credit, and you know, it's great. I mean, why stay in just one lane if you can do them both? I mean, it's all of us would do the same thing. So I don't judge her for that. I know a lot of people are like, well, you were country. Well, you're still country. You're just singing. I mean, like when I listen to music, I don't just listen to country. Yeah, I listen to all the genres. So it's no different than singing, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you know, if you're gonna make art, you may as well make art that calls to you in a certain way.
Exactly.
You know?
Oh,
you don't
100%.
pigeonhole yourself into just one thing because, well, that's where I started, so that's where I got to be forever.
Yeah, no. I mean, I like artists that are willing to take a risk, because here's the thing: when you do that, you're not guaranteed it to work. Yeah. It's been an epic failure for a lot of people that have tried to cross over in genres. But I know for me, when I was doing it, I loved artists like when I was younger, Avril Lavigne and people like that, like Pink, people like that. I loved it. I loved the way they performed and just the energy they brought. Yeah. So that always intrigued me, even though I was a country act. And I was like, man, I'd love one day to like do a song like that. That would be so fun to just try that. Yeah. So I understand why people do it. It's very intriguing as an artist to try different genres.
Why do you think Taylor has seen the astronomical success that she's seen? This is like she's turned into just like, a recognizable name or A-list celebrity to like record-breaking musical talent that is doing stuff that's never been done before.
Taylor is very, very, very smart and very intelligent. Not only was she an amazing songwriter, she just sees it. She knew how to make a live show fun. She tapped into an audience of young girls who didn't have anybody like that at the time. But she was very good at continuing to keep those girls. Yeah. Sometimes they start with that age and they lose them as they grow. But she didn't stay singing music for 16-year-olds. As she got older, so did her fans. So she made her music more and more mature. These 16-year-old girls, 13-year-old girls that liked her in the days are now in their mid-20s. So, yeah, they want to hear the more mature songs that she's singing now. She was very smart there. Obviously, they had some very calculative PR things that happened, and she had some ironic things with, like, Kanye West and just lots of things that put her in the media. Some of those things are planned, some of them not so planned.
Some engineered, some not engineered. Yeah.
But the engineered ones were brilliant, and she's had several of those, and they're brilliant. And anybody who was smart would be like, dang it, why didn't I think of that? You know, because I've seen the ins and outs of the industry. I've seen when you go to LA and they're like, hey, you're going to have coffee with XYZ. We're going to pay them to have coffee with you. We're going to take a photo. It's going to end up in a magazine. Now you're talked about. So obviously, the more people talk about you, so her being talked about, people think she's probably like at home, like crying. She's like, cha-ching, like give me some money. Like, you know, that helps. It grows a career, you know. So, but I do know firsthand she's brilliant. She's very much in control. She's got great parents that are involved, have really like guided her in the industry and not allowed her to get involved with the wrong people. Yeah. And she flipping works hard. I mean, if anybody's going to do a 3.5-hour show with that energy, like, crazy. You deserve every bit of that, because it's hard. That's a lot of work day after day after day.
No kidding. Yeah. Just the sheer volume of people that were employed on that tour is
But she's just
insane.
Really intelligent. That's the thing. If you listen to her lyrics and you listen to her talk, I can see how she was a nerd at school. Half the words she uses, I'm like, I don't know what that word means. Like, she's just really intelligent, and then that also allowed her to be able to foresee the music industry and be like, oh, this is what people are wanting, because she's just intelligent.
Yeah, and it's to me a great case study that it's being that successful in that space is not about raw talent.
No, absolutely not.
Alchemy, you know, that happens, this magic that happens when you put all of these things together in a pot, like
walk
marketing,
downtown
branding,
Nashville.
all that stuff.
If you want to find talent, find somebody
That's what I'm saying.
that's busking on the street. I mean, my goodness, I'm like, oh, this is insane.
Overflowing with talent in there. Yeah,
it's about being calculative. And back when she had her first album out, her record label and her dad and her family were very calculative with several things that led her to a lot of PR and media, and it's all about getting seen by eyeballs. Like they always say the saying, like, fake it till you make it. And I'm telling you, like, even when I started in Australia, I wasn't anybody at 16, but my manager had me with a big tour bus, a big stage. So when I would turn up in a town, if people didn't know who I was, they're like, well, we're missing the black. Who's this girl? She has a tour bus and a stage. Yeah, she's gonna be famous. We're gonna go to the show. Then you win them over. So it's about the persona of, like, okay.
Yeah, you got to have the chops. You got to have the chops to win them over.
Yes.
But you also got to get them in the door.
You got to get them in the door, and then you got to be able to close it. It's like a business, you know. So yeah, for sure, and that's exactly what she did.
Yeah. Tell me about, we talked about a couple of the businesses. The one we haven't talked about is Fit by Shea. You obviously really big into fitness. How do you find time to get in the gym? Where do you put it in your schedule? What's your routine like? And then tell me about the actual business too. Yeah.
So I have always been really athletic. I trained when I was trying to make money in Nashville. I was a trainer. I trained some clients there. So I've always loved fitness. When I was younger, before I did music, I was asked to train for the Olympics running. But I decided not to because I was like, I can't put 4 years into this if I sprain my ankle and then I miss the Olympics. So it wasn't what I felt like I needed to do. But my dad, I don't know if he scared me into it, but he's like, when you finish school, you need to get a gym membership because everybody finishes school and gets fat. So my dad told me, he's like, you need a gym membership. And I was fit. But
he's
I was
not
like,
wrong.
No, it's true. I was like, okay, because you're so active in school and then you're not.
That's happened to me.
So,
I blew up to like 250 right after college.
It's crazy because it's just a completely different life. But that being said, I've always been fit. I had our first 2 kids. It was easy. I was like, let's bouncing back things easy. What are these people talking about? Had our 3rd kid. I was like, okay, these 10 pounds are not coming off and I don't know what to do. And I struggled with it because I didn't like the way I looked. I went from like what I would normally wear. Like I was like, I'm not wearing that. Like it looks terrible. And I hated that feeling of insecurity. So I was like, okay, I need to figure out what it is. I felt like I was doing everything to get back to look how I wanted to, but nothing was working. So then I started trying to like intermediate fast a little bit, and then I cut certain things out. Like I don't diet. Diet's not a word in our house. I just cut certain types of foods out and focus on other food groups. And then I figured out this is working. And I was like, I'm going to test it on some friends. And everybody who was doing it, I call it the body reset, the 2-week reset. And basically after those 2 weeks, not only did they drop weight, but it was like their hormones and everything reset. And then they could go back to normal and continue to keep that weight off. Yeah. I had a lot of women like, hey, can you share your cigarettes? Like I would always post workout videos and they're like, how can we find this? So I knew there was a need for it. And I was like, I am working out anyway. Why do I not just set a camera up and film these workout videos for these women to help other people? And I was like, well, I mean, I'm doing it. So I'm supposed to get paid to do it. Yeah. But I wasn't doing it for the money. I was doing it for helping other people, really. So I started the group, and women kept signing up, and everyone seemed to really love it. And so my schedule, I try to do, like, I need my cardio. So I run 2 days a week, probably just 3 miles. Pretty simple. I'll do a little weights, but then 3 days a week is when I'm doing more of my workouts that these girls are seeing. Okay. So I tell the girls anywhere from, I like to do 4 to 5 days a week if I can, but it doesn't mean you have to go in a gym with a bunch of macho men for an hour and feel uncomfortable. Yeah. The workouts I put together, they can do at home or just need to order a few little things at home. And I know a lot of women, when they're getting back into it, feel uncomfortable being in the gym. Sure, yeah. So it's just nice to see people's results and how much they really do appreciate that. And again, I like helping other people, and I get paid to do something I love to do as well.
Of course, yeah. I mean, money to me a lot of times is it's the lagging indicator that you're doing something that actually helps people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I made sure it was affordable, so I didn't want to price something so people couldn't afford it. Yeah. But the only reason I didn't do it free is because I don't want you to do it if you're not doing some type of commitment to yourself. Yeah, of course. Because everybody will say they do it unless they have something financially on the line, and then they'll actually do it. And that puts more pressure on them to like, hey, get up. Let's do this. We paid for this. Let's do this.
When you pay attention. Yeah. There's so I tell people money is like the best accountability partner. Yeah, for sure. If you want to make yourself do something, pay pay somebody to make you do that thing.
Yeah.
And it might feel a little bit weird at first because you're like, I could just do this. They're not even really doing like I know, like I could look up the workout on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's not really about that. It's about the accountability to make sure that you're actually going to put in the work that you said you were going to put in.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's definitely one of those things that the older you get, the more you realize how important it really is just to stay constantly in the gym or running or doing push-ups at the house or get a pull-up bar.
I feel like it's for women. It's 70% food, 30% exercise. I didn't used to think that.
It's definitely that way for me.
But I really think as women now it is. I really think it's 70% food and then 30% exercise. But you have to have them both.
Absolutely, yeah.
To make it work, you can't just do the food and not do the exercise because then you'll turn into a little beanpole and you still want to look good.
Yeah, muscle is still really important for longevity too. It's not even just like a vanity thing or an aesthetic thing. You don't have to be trying to be a fitness competitor, but it is very, very useful for longevity and for skeletal structure. Yeah, for a lot of different things. So you definitely want to throw in some sort of weight training. Talk to me about the nutrition side. Are you more focused on? You mentioned you cut out some food groups and you focus on other things.
So I focus on. With the reset, it's high protein and high fat.
High protein, fat.
So I cut out all carbs and cut out all sugars, and I'm a fruit bat, but I cut out sugars for that 2 weeks, even natural sugars.
Okay.
So, but I don't cut out my fats. But it's going to be whole. I have like a whole milk,
Grass-fed butter.
whole Greek yogurt. Yeah. If you're going to have milk, it's going to be whole milk. It's cheese. I still eat the dairies, which people are like, do what? We can eat dairy still? I'm like, yeah, like you can still enjoy your food. Yeah. I mean, I'll have fiber vegetables, but I won't have carrots or corn, anything that has the high sugar in it.
Yeah, high carbs.
And I'm never hungry. I'll still get my calories in. I mean, I'll eat 4 pieces of turkey sausage and 3 eggs for breakfast.
Exactly.
I'm just not eating. This reset's very important, but the thing is, I tell people, I say you have to stick to it for 2 weeks. If you stop at day 6, you might as well know you haven't done it.
Yeah.
Like, come on, don't do 6 days and then quit it. Just get to 2 weeks, and then you've done it, and your body just resets. It takes about 10 days, but I always tell them 2 weeks because it pushes them a little bit further.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a beautiful thing about eating protein is that it's really difficult to overeat protein.
Yeah, and you can get creative. There's plenty of creative, and that's the thing in the group. I do recipes and all sorts of stuff for them. I mean, if you can't do it, you don't want it bad enough because I make it easy.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much the case across the board, and then it's a lot of it starts too with the belief that it's possible for you to be able to do it.
Exactly.
Because for a while I just told myself like, well, it's just my body type or whatever. And it's like, sure, different people have different body types. I think that that's 100% something that you can be willing to recognize, but that still doesn't change the science behind like, if you expend less energy than you take in, then you're going to gain weight. If you expend more energy than you take in, you're going to lose weight. Well, as long as it's black Starbucks
this isn't
coffee.
black.
Okay.
Well, this is Americano with extra sweet cream. It's somewhat, it's like meeting halfway.
Yeah.
I don't do the fufu, but I can't do black.
No.
I
switched to black. That was one of those things, like when I started tracking my calories, it was one of the things that I was like, I can easily give up
it's important. It would be great
to
do, but
well, you got to make the decisions where you want to cut. You cut where you want to cut.
I have to cut all coffee for the 2 weeks because otherwise I just can't do it because I can't do black coffee.
Really?
I don't know.
What do you caffeinate during the 2 weeks at all then?
Yeah, I do like a hot tea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I need my caffeine. I got 3 kids.
I was going to say, I was like, good for you if you can do that for 2 weeks.
No, no, I'm not that dedicated. I'm sorry.
So what's next for you, Shea? Like what's on the horizon? What are you kind of like if you're picturing the next 5 years, 10 years of your career? Is it more entrepreneurial type stuff? Is it like I'm all in back in music? What does that look like?
Well, I think I always say the sky's the limits. I mean, I hate to decide exactly what that's going to be like, but obviously I want to stay in the music industry until I feel like, people are sick of me. But my goal is to continue to grow the businesses. I love to double my businesses every year, so my goal is to really work on the businesses, grow Shea Baby as a family name, have the girls step into the company at some point, helping design and stuff like that. I would love to see my husband, I'm supporting him so he can make the national finals again a couple more times. I think that's very cool at his age, him doing that. I like to do everything good. I want to grow in all of it. I want to become better at all of it. Who knows with the amount of different things I do, who knows what 5 years looks like, but it's going to be fun and busy for sure.
Fun and busy. Yeah. Well, you're just telling me your schedule while you were here for a single 24-hour period in Vegas.
Yeah. After this photo shoot, we're just all over the place. We fly home in a red eye tonight.
Red eyes are the worst.
Yeah.
Back to Texas?
Yes. Back to Texas.
All
Yep.
right.
for a few days.
What part of Texas you in?
We live near Dallas.
Okay, like
Fort Worth area.
Got it. My brother-in-law actually lives like right around there. Yeah.
Yep. So just lots of busyness, and if people want to keep up with what I'm doing, I mean, obviously, I'm busy on social. I got Instagram. I mean, if you call TikTok, I attempt to do TikTok. I'm not near as cool as some of these young kids, but I do Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, and then everything's on our websites, the businesses and the music, and so yeah, I mean, there's lots of ways to follow what we're doing and to keep up with it.
What's the Instagram handle?
It's at Shea Fisher Music.
At Shea Fisher Music.
Yep.
So
SHEA.
If you enjoy the conversation, go check out some of the stuff that Shea's putting out. She's all over the place. And especially if you are a woman that's in a position that's similar to her, where you got kids, but you also got a bunch of dreams and other goals, and you're telling or maybe people in your life are telling you that you can't do those things because you got kids and you got the responsibility, blah, blah, blah. Go check out some other people who are doing it and making it happen, and get some advice from them first.
We'll inspire each other together.
That's right. That's exactly right. So at Shea Fisher Music over on Instagram, go check out her stuff and download some of the music she's putting out there on Spotify as well. For everybody else listening, tuning in, remember to leave every relationship better than you found it. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Love it.
Peace out.
Peace.